Almost every double passage will have a question just like number 50, where they're asking you to describe the relationship. So we always are going to approach it the exact same way. Let's stick to dumb summaries of what's going on. Now, we can always refresh our memory, and we should have read this from the get-go, but we can always refresh our memory by looking at the blurb, and sometimes the titles of the articles will give us some sort of clue about what the people are arguing. Here, it doesn't really help that much. It says, okay, blast in the past. By the way, Rex Dalton, what an awesome name. Very cool. Doesn't really say what he was arguing, though. Maybe, we remember, hopefully, that he's saying that there was an impact. Yes, there is a blast in the past. There was a meteor impact. What caused a 1300-year deep freeze? Well, this guy, remember, is saying not the impact, right? So they're questioning it. Now, by the time we get to question 50, we've read both of these passages, so we shouldn't have to reread them. We've read most of what they're saying. Maybe we skipped around a little bit with the no reading strategy, but the other questions that are only about one passage at a time, they're asking about the main ideas. We should know that these two passages disagree. So I'm going into my choices now with that dumb summary in mind. I'm looking for something that sounds like disagreement. Choice A, passage 2 presents a critique of the central hypothesis described in passage 1. Well, if you critique something, you're usually disagreeing with it. You're saying, like, what's wrong with it? So that's probably close. Choice B, passage 2 explains the scientific question addressed by the central hypothesis developed in passage 1. Well, no, I mean, maybe that's not the same as saying agreement, but if you're just explaining what someone says, then you're probably not disagreeing with them. You're kind of just corroborating what they've already argued, and that's definitely not what's happening here. They definitely disagree. So this is just not suggesting any sort of disagreement. C, passage 2 discusses possible implications of the central hypothesis summarized in passage 1. Don't get intimidated here by the weird phrasing of this choice. Is it a disagreement? No, they don't. Why would the implications be a disagreement? The implications would be like, what's the real world application of the fact that there was a meteor impact, whatever it was, 13,000 years ago? Like, they're never talking about like what that means for me today. It's not about that. It's just like, did it happen or did it not happen? It's a much simpler question. They're using confusing language in these choices to try to make you think that there's more going on here than there really is. One guy says there's a meteor, the other guy says there's not. That's the whole thing. Let's look at D. Let's see if that gets to it. Passage 2 identifies evidence in favor of the central hypothesis advanced in passage 1. No, that's the opposite. So A sounds like a fancy way of saying the passages disagree, and so that's why we pick it, because we said in a dumb way that the passages disagree, and that's what we're really looking for. So by using a dumb summary, we stop caring about all the weird words in these choices. We know what we're looking for. And if a choice doesn't sound like a disagreement, it's probably wrong. We don't need to, really get into the weeds here with either of these passages. It's pretty clear what's going on. Sometimes they'll agree or they'll have some sort of nuance to them, but almost never. And by the time you get to this question, the relationship question, you should know what the relationship is in a word or two. Stick to the word or two. Stick to the dumb summary. You can always add more complexity later. But very often you won't need to, because this will happen. You'll get only one choice that represents the relationship. And so you're done.